ayayere uyo uko kuno aho pano mamuona kere nai anovura meso anovura nzeve anokaya marigi Kama kwe como usasaire anogaya mari
kamba kwe uyo anotara mari anogaya mari garai mamunzwa pane nyaya pano zvamunoda kunzwa zvinotaurwa pano.
Right, 12 June 2022, and I'm joined by my usual guest on Sundays and Mondays, Mr. Tinashe Jonas. How are you, sir?
I'm fine and excited to be invited to on Kambakwe Media.
Fantastic. And Mr. Jonas, today we want to have a very, very quick discussion. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe last week reduced or adjusted the auction rate to 350 from the hundreds, which is almost a devaluation of 200%. Did you see that change?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay. What is the cause of this? What do you think is happening here?
All right. First, when we talk about economy changes every within days, within hours, within minutes. So it is the duty then of the Reserve Bank and the parent organization, the Ministry of Finance, to monitor the challenges and to mitigate them on daily basis, if not hourly.
Okay, but let us go back to 1:1. When the current Reserve Bank governor got in, and when the current Minister of Finance got into office, they promised, and there's even a court ruling, that one bond is equal to $1. They have made changes here within a very short space of time that show that one is not equal to one. In fact, this rate which they've put here means if you owe money, you now owe a lot more money. If you owe money in US dollars, you owe a lot more money. And the price of basic commodities are now going to be very, very high because of this official rate. And the salaries of people have not increased by 300%. What is going to happen to people?
Okay. The first item is you said that at first they claimed that the rate of a US dollar to the local currency is 1:1, and then it later proved it was not the scenario. The currency value increases or decreases. I mean, at any time. It started as on one, and then due to many factors, including the COVID pandemic, then the rate at the moment is not 1:1. So the currency appreciates or depreciates depending on the factors of the time. When they were claiming 1:1, it was 1:1, but now currently it's not. And
okay. I agree with you, Mr. Jonas, that economy changes.
Yeah.
I'm here in South Africa. And when I arrived here, the rate was 1:, in fact, I think it was 1:6. And now it's 1:15. But this all happened over a period of 16 years. I've been here on 16 years now. And this change of 6 rands or 10 rands, it happened over such a long period. In Zimbabwe, our currency has been devaluating to 0. This is almost the 3rd time now, where our currency came from 1:1 During Gono's days, it happened countless times. It happened under Governor John Mangunja many, many times. Now it's happening again. And this is not stoppable. There's no solution to this. Why is it happening like this in Zimbabwe? What is the problem?
All right. Yeah, the first item I would respond to is the comparison in terms of the currency, current value between South Africa and Zimbabwe. Then the second item is it seems like there's no solution in hindsight. Okay, the first item, the economy of South Africa is a bit stable than the Zimbabwean economy. Why? South African economy is probably 70 to 75% owned by the white people, and blacks are workers and audiences to their own economy. When your economy is in the hands of white supremacy or white monopoly capital, it's protected locally, regionally, and internationally. And we know who controls the global economic order. You are talking about your Britain, your Germany, your US. They are so happy with the current status of economy in South Africa, where even the Reserve Bank is a private entity. Probably plus or minus 3 families, white families, controls the whole stake. And so when it's like that, when you want to transfer economy from white supremacy or white monopoly capital to black people, it's a crime. At some point in South Africa, when ANC President Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa bowed to relentless pressure from EFF to give blacks land, and he announced that the ANC government was ready to transfer land to black people. The rand tumbled, and that tumble was again accompanied by the KP, this Kimberley process, declaring again that the diamonds of South Africa, they actually termed the South African economy as kind of garbage. I forgot the appropriate term to mean that the economy is now out of control and out of order. In response to the upcoming land reform, and okay. Then South Africa.
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. But
wait. And then South Africa, sensing that they I can say they actually stopped the land reform discussions altogether. And Zimbabwe did a land reform that they are now punished, as an example, to all our Southern African countries in SADC not to follow suit. We are punished by sanctions. We are punished by currency manipulation. We are punished by trade. Actually, by virtue, as I said earlier, sanctions are designed to make the economy scream. And secondly, in the Zidera, if you read Zidera, the key point is Zidera is created and crafted just for a democratic and peaceful transfer of power. And that transfer of power is it must be done, ZANU-PF handing over power to CCCC, a puppet of the West. And we know that just last month, Chamisa had dinner at the, I think it's the Norwegian embassy in Pretoria. And all the delegates are out. We know who was there. That's why, so as long power is in the hands of ZANU-PF, economy sabotage, whether you call it Jecha or you call it Sunga One, Sunga Dozen, they will try to make people hungry. They will try to make the economy suffer, so that a hungry man is an angry man, and then ZANU-PF is going to be voted out of power. So Zimbabwe is under attack from superpowers who normally controls world order in terms of politics, be it social or economic. South Africa is protected. For more than 400 people died through the KZN floods, and there's no global outcry, nothing. And in Zimbabwe, a certain lady by the name of Blessing Ali is supposedly killed by a jilted lover. It makes headlines all over, and it's a big story. And Zimbabweans are not allowed. In Zimbabwe, we don't allow domestic violence murders, but in South Africa, we've got a lot of violent crime, a lot of citizens who are killed through robberies, through domestic violence. Actually, South Africa has got the highest murder rate outside a war zone, the highest murder rate in the world. But there's nothing. Still investors have got confidence in the economy, in investing in a country that you die, human life is not valued. Zimbabwe, where there's peace, but there's global attack in terms of media, especially South Africa as a country, the SABC, the ENCA, the media, which is also controlled by the same rich white people, is the same media that has made it a mandate to damage Zimbabwe's reputation and confidence on daily basis. So South Africa is also, it will never be disturbed because it's under white monopoly capital.
Okay, I don't want to agree with you on most of the things that you have said, and I want to unpack it. The Zimbabwe government, as we speak currently, has been doing very, very well over the past, from 2017 until this moment. In the past 6 months, it seems like the focus has shifted from the economy. The economy is just not performing. The way I was talking to you when I came to Zimbabwe last year, in August, September, in fact, on 14th September, I was in Zimbabwe. You could see that the focus was on the economy. Everything was happening. As we speak right now, there is almost like a lax attitude by the government. And there seems to be no concern when such a devaluation happens. It's almost like it's not making news. It's expected. Just across in Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema last week published the trend of inflation since he got into office. From around 24%, inflation in Zambia is now single digits. Why is it that things are improving in Zambia in 1 year and getting worse in Zimbabwe?
I enjoy your comparisons with the Zimbabwe that is fully independent, and you know Zambia is also under a puppet government. Zambia, HH is a puppet of the US, and hence after his victory, straight away he had to be a guest in America. The point is, you are comparing a country that is under global superpowers attack against countries that are not under sanctions, and the politics in South Africa, the politics in Zambia, they're not like the political landscape in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has been given an opposition that is terroristic in nature. The opposition, I was today and yesterday I was watching this Peter Mutasa. I think it's from Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition. I guess so, if my memory is correct. Peter Mutasa is now just because of this Blessing Ali. May he also rest in peace. He jumped the borders to South Africa, and he's being hosted on daily basis on South African media. He's literally bashing everything about the country, everything, nothing good at all. a country, I sent you a video that showed you that Zimbabwe stock exchange, the Victoria Falls one, the industrial index gained by 5,000, almost, I think 5,500. which is 129 times the Nasdaq of the stock exchange of US. So we gained, and as number one country stock market in the world, beating even the British, the Japanese, the whatever stock exchange. But all that is ignored to further command and a negative narrative that Zimbabwe government, there's a crisis of governance and the government is clueless. But on the ground, even our current account is in surplus. Why? Because although we are exporting more than what we are, although we are importing more than what we are exporting, but the remittances from the diaspora, they are cushioning the deficit. There's so much activity. I mean, economic fundamentals. I mean, indicating performing economy, but what is happening right now in the UK? I was following the UK. What's happening in the UK right now? Diesel is costing $2.50 pounds per liter, the highest in so many years. In the US now, inflation is recorded there. I mean, it's the highest in the past 40 years, since 1981, due mainly to the Russia-Ukraine war, because it has triggered the energy to be expensive. It has triggered fertilizers. We mostly, like in Zimbabwe, import. And a high agricultural production cost triggers directly the cost of food, stuffs, and everything. Things are bad globally. Even the projected almost 4.4% global economy increase was reviewed by the IMF downwards, I think to 3.4 or 3.5, due to this Ukraine-Russia war. It's a serious thing. It's a serious knock on economy. There's no country currently in the world that is performing well, that is not having economic shocks from because remember, suddenly after the COVID-19, there was a consumer demand in terms of commodities and everything. And while we're trying to recover, the Russia, Ukraine, which is also a pandemic, because the energy controls inflation in every country. So,
Mr. Jonas, I hear you, but I think let's focus on the specific issues, because I hear the general issues about a global recession. America right now is going through the worst inflation. They produced their results or their inflation figures on Friday. America inflation is the highest ever. On Friday, it was produced. But I think in Zimbabwe, we've got a specific and special case, because the situation is developing, it's new, and it's getting worse. And we heard Mr. Kalipanipogen last week, Senator Kalipanipogen, saying the situation that is there now, presently, he compared it to what was there in 2017, before the transition. Because the way the economy has become, it has become a national security threat. And I think you agree with me that there cannot be stability in the country when we've got inflation hitting over 600%, officially year-on-year inflation by the Reserve Bank's own records on their website. It's over 145%. If you look at the exchange rate, this year alone, in the past 6 months, it has gone down from about 100 to 350, which is an increase of 350%. If you look at things like money supply, it's out of hand. These issues that I'm raising are not issues that are private. These are public issues. But there seems to be no focus to change these things through an intervention by the government to say, these things are getting worse, let's do something. Do you think it's okay to just sit and not do anything and not make any changes?
All right. You have raised 2 points. The first point is about the Senator Kalipanipogen. Then the second is about is it okay for people to sit around and do nothing? Senator Kalipani Pugeni, to me, is what can I say? Is a colorful and talented political chameleon. One point is with Douglas Monzora. The second, I know he follows his politics is tied around Thokozani Kupe, and now Thokozani Kupe is yellow. Obviously, Kalipani Pugeni is yellow. Maybe we are just waiting for him to be officially unveiled again. Is being mischievous when he refers to the inflation back to 2017. Why mentioning 2017? To specifically delete the progress and the gains of the Second Republic. He is trying to just destroy Comrade Emerson Mnangagwa when we know what is happening on the ground. In only 4 years of him as a president, he has done what him. Kalipani Pugeni is a victim of the First Republic, the perennial water shortages of Bulawayo, which has underpinned any developmental activity in the region, because due to Ian Smith failed to complete a Gwaishangan dam. Comrade Robert Gabriel Mugabe failed to complete the same. May his soul rest in peace. But Comrade ED, within 4 years, the Gwaishangani is almost near completion. And even I want to mention the irrigation activities along the whole canal from Zambezi to the dam. There's a lot I want to mention now, but he is being mischievous because his political career is like a monetary currency that changes per hour. And then the last item I need to respond on is when you mentioned about the government sitting around doing nothing. That is not correct. First, we saw the president temporarily freezing the lending by banks, building societies, and why it was a temporary measure to investigate. There are some institutions, individuals who were abusing credit lines facilities. But they borrow money in foreign currency, then they trade it on the parallel market, and there was a lot of activities and criminal elements. And now the government is changing some monetary, economic criminality to cases that would land one in jail. The government has made the management system, maize procurement system, management system, was the GMB and this procurement of maize was also a hotbed of currency black market. Now things are in order. Taxes, the intermarket monetary transfer, whatever tax, it must be IMTT, so something like that. On local domestic currencies, it's 2%. On foreign currency, US dollar, it's about 4%. To encourage, to attract the use of the local currency. I mean, I can go on and on, but there are so much interventions by the Minister of Finance. The list is endless.
Right. What I would say, Mr. Jonas, to what you have said, is like the government is trying to empty the sea using a spoon. There is nothing that you have described now that can explain or that can address the situation at the Reserve Bank, especially with regard to Forex. What you have explained now are peripheral issues. The real issue which we have at the Reserve Bank is that the currency is sliding and it's affecting everything else. And the solutions that you've said now, they only address sectorial issues. They address a person who is on the street, but they do not address the bigger issues of why our Zimbabwe dollar has been losing value over and over and over again. Why we cannot have money that you can put in a drawer and leave it for 10 years and come back and it still can buy. I've got a $10 from Namibia, which I had 16 years ago. If I went to Namibia now, it will still buy that money to buy a drink. In Zimbabwe, that money that I had 16 years ago, it's worth nothing. I've got about 50 billion in notes. Remind me to give you one. I've got about 10 of those. When I come to Harare, I'm gonna give you one, and you become a 50 billionaire in like one time. That money cannot buy anything. As we speak right now, the Reserve Bank governor did not issue a statement when they devalued the currency by 350% last week. In Malawi, the president issued a statement when they devalued money last week. There is just no interest in the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe in making proper economic policy and monetary policy. They are just going on the way they've been going on in the past. And an election is around the corner. Do you think that this is normal or it's sabotage?
All right. I will touch again on your comparison of Zimbabwe money and Namibian dollar. I think at some point you agree with me that Namibia economy is hugely controlled by South Africa. If you have been to Namibia, most of the shops, road signs, language, it's Africans and slightly Germany. Yeah, they are, most of their retail, their economy is controlled by South Africa. But I won't dwell much on that. Secondly, Namibia is not under sanctions. And it's not a direct enemy of the West. I would be happy if you compare Zimbabwe to a country like Venezuela that is under biting sanctions, US sanctions, and is declared an enemy of the West. If you do that, then your comparison is fair, is democratic. But you are choosing countries that it's like someone is on wheelchair fighting a person who is not disabled, who is standing on two legs, and then you count the jabs or the points. That's not fair. Look at Russia right now. Russia is under biting sanctions, and their economy is suffering. I'm following it, and as we speak, more than 840 McDonald's, which came just 30 years ago in Russia, they are closing. So many international companies are closing in Russia. I think McDonald's alone, they were estimating more than 60,000 jobs are going to be lost. Just one company. You can count other companies. Millions and millions of jobs are being lost in Russia under the biting. And look, it's just the sanctions are just being introduced. It's a matter of days or months, but millions of jobs are being lost. Now guess after a year or two, sanctions by nature, they affect an economy. What our government, the Reserve Bank, and the Minister of Finance are not dealing with, they are dealing with a delinquent economy, an economy that is on bronco. Our economy is very much unpredictable because it's being manipulated by superpowers. Sanctions, follow any country in sanctions. Follow just 3 countries in sanctions and telling me and compare them to other countries who are not under sanctions. Surely Zimbabwe is doing its best under the current circumstances, because we are focusing on the currency volatility. Yet that currency instability is an indication of many other complex factors, because the currency is a direct and simple indicator of how the economy is happening. There's a lot in terms of an economy is a system, like an engine of a car. When a battery goes flat, no matter the car is brand new, it's 2 days old, it will never start. So, but because the movement of the car, when your car starts and move, in economy, it's the currency.
Okay.
But so it won't be correct. But now, when the car is not starting, people in Zimbabwe, because everything is politicized, it will be the engine is damaged. It's not the tires are useless. The body of the car is useless. The car keys are broken. That's how we just bash everything. Yet it maybe today it's only the petrol. Maybe next week the car is run out of petrol. Maybe the other week the other tire is flat. Economy must be managed on hourly basis, if not minute basis. The Reserve Bank and the Ministry of Finance everywhere in the world, they have got to monitor the activities of the economy on a daily basis. There's no Reserve Bank in the world or Ministry of Finance that can go on leave for a month and say currently the economy is good and we are going on holiday and we close the Reserve Bank. No, they monitor on hourly basis, if not every hour. Economy.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Mr. Jonas, but I think that is where we need to agree that our Reserve Bank is the source of all the problems that we have in Zimbabwe. Because there's never been change in that Reserve Bank. That Reserve Bank has had the same people with the same thinking, with the same model, with the same ineptitude. I cannot even describe the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. I think that is the worst Reserve Bank ever. And it's sabotaging the president as we speak. If I was the president, what I was going to do there is I was going to fire all those guys, the governors and the deputy governors, because they've let down the nation very, very badly. They are not understanding the economy and how to transform it. They are not on top of the situation. Like you're saying, they're not updating and following what is happening. And if something was to happen to the president's candidature in 2023, I would put it at the door of the Reserve Bank. They are not doing a good job, those guys. They failed to put cash in the ATMs over the past 6 years. Not even speaking about stabilizing the currency. There's nothing that they've done as a Reserve Bank that you can say there were 10 objectives and they've met 1 or 2. And this has to be said in the open. The problem that we have in Zimbabwe is that you cannot create wealth. If you try to create wealth in that country, you end up having to be a corrupt person or someone who deals in the black market. A normal, ordinary person cannot even hope to create wealth and to have a house. Right now, as you speak, do you think someone who is a civil servant can buy a house with the salary that they're earning now? Okay. When we were growing up, you and me, when we were growing up, our teachers had houses. My neighbor was in Bulawayo was a teacher. On the left and on the right was a teacher. They had bought those houses. At the moment, it's not possible to do that because there's just no buying power in that money. There's no stability. And you can't plan. How do you plan in that economy?
All right. I'm happy that you are becoming a normal Zimbabwean. Us Zimbabweans, we bash everything. We condemn everything about Zimbabwe. And I don't know whether we're going to adopt Malawi or adopt South Africa or Botswana as our country. Because if Zimbabwe was going to disappear through our bashing and narratives, there will never be Zimbabwe to talk about. Okay. I would respond to your assertions that the Reserve Bank is sabotaging the president. I respect your view, but personally, the president is actually the one who is being sabotaged by the Western, by powers who are effecting a regime change, by attacking the economy of the country. And the economy of the country is attacked in many, many phases. But I'm saying, I earlier on gave an example of a car. That when a car runs on a system basis, when one component of a system is disturbed, then the car won't move. But in a case of a car, if I talk about the economy, the engine of the car is the reserve bank. That's the engine of the car. But there are both parts of the car, the tires, which can be agriculture, mining, import, exports, taxation. There's a lot, but the engine of the economy is the reserve bank. Now, in Zimbabwe, then all other economic sectors like mining or any other attack anywhere else would then manifest through the currency. The currency is easy to see because you are told today we are trading with the US dollar at 800, tomorrow at 200. People, they don't talk about the money realized in our GDP through mining. People, they don't talk about how much tons were delivered of maize to GMB. People are not worried about that. People in Zimbabwe, like anywhere in the world, they are more directly affected by the current rate because we are using a multi-current. We are using these two currencies, our Zim dollar and the US, because we are using two currencies simultaneously. With the hope of then phasing out the US dollar from the market, the rate is a topical issue. Unlike in South Africa, where you are, they are using one currency, which is the official currency, the rand. So rate is not a subject matter. That's the issue in Zimbabwe because we are using two currencies. So a rate every day matters.
Okay, I see, Mr. Jonas, you don't want to address Reserve Bank Governor Mangunja. You don't want to address him at all. You are going around him. And
all right. Okay,
I'm saying to you, the problem is a person. It's not the problem at the Reserve Bank is a leadership problem. We have a leadership problem at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, where the guys lack innovation. They lack the ability to think outside the box.
All right.
We have there's no reason
Mr.
why.
Let me respect your views and say if you could be a Reserve Bank governor for just this hour, what are measures you would do which would show us your innovation?
You see how happy I am that you gave me that question.
Yeah, now I want to create the list.
I can be a better Reserve Bank governor than Mangunja because he's been there for so long and he's been the problem. Let me tell you what the first thing I would do in Zimbabwe is. I would look to our neighbors. There is no country in Southern Africa that is having the problems that Zimbabwe has got.
All right, Mr. Zimbabwe, let me correct you. Compare Zimbabwe to another country under biting sanctions.
Okay, I can even compare it to Russia or Venezuela. Russia, right now, they've got the currency. They've got money in the banks. The inflation is not the way our inflation is. But what I want to say to you is, it's very simple.
But do you agree that Russia produces almost 19% of the oil gas, global oil gas? Do you agree that by having by almost producing a quarter of oil, global oil gas, Russia is an economic superpower, bigger than Zimbabwe?
No, I don't agree. Zimbabwe has got platinum, which is the platinum is amazing. It's used everywhere. Zimbabwe's platinum and South Africa's platinum are almost the same. Gold in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
So
you're already to South Africa now.
No, but I'm just explaining to you that Zimbabwe is not an economy like Malawi, Zambia, Botswana, Swaziland. These countries that I'm telling you about have got nothing. They produce nothing. and they are doing well economically. The reserve banks there are doing a good job. Our reserve bank, despite of all these things that I'm telling you, we've got the biggest platinum mines in Zimbabwe.
All right.
Which
Mr.
supply?
Gabagwe,
Yes.
do you agree that Russia is the first economy? It's in the first. It's the first world economy.
No, I'm only comparing Russia because you asked me to compare with a country that is.
But I
didn't want to compare with Russia.
Do you agree that the economy of Russia is we term it first world? It's not second, or third.
Correct. Yes.
So Russia is a European country which is a first class. I mean, first world economy. You can't compare the economy of Russia, even their GDP, to Zimbabwe. It's way up. Though they are under biting sanctions now, but look, Russia is even producing weapons that US alone will never dare to enter Russia. They will never. US is afraid to fight Russia one-on-one.
Let's go back to the Reserve Bank.
I want the Reserve Bank because choose another country which is not a first world economy. Okay.
I want to go back to the Reserve Bank. You asked me what I would do if I
want you to compare Zimbabwe to another country that is in our status and it's under sanctions. I know you run away from Venezuela.
No country.
I know you never pick Venezuela.
Okay, let me pick Venezuela. Venezuela has produced a digital currency, a cryptocurrency that the Reserve Bank there has done away with fiat money. And they've introduced the cryptocurrency. Are you aware of that?
All right. No, I mean
the reason why they did that. The reason why they did that.
Okay, tell me that their currency compared to value to the US dollar.
Okay, their currency was losing value. Then the Reserve Bank, they realized that if they continue with this normal money, they will be attacked. So they turned to cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and other coins, which cannot be attacked. And they did away with the remittance fees using that method. I do not want to lie to you, Mr. Jonas. The problem in Zimbabwe is the lack of innovation at the Reserve Bank. And go online now. When you finish this, go and research what Venezuela did. America is begging Venezuela for oil as we speak in the past few months, regardless of the fact that they're under sanctions. They had to go there and have a meeting. In Zimbabwe, all these things that I'm talking about, they will never happen because our guys, they keep complaining about sanctions, but they cannot innovate. They cannot bypass those sanctions. This is the problem that we have, and it starts at the Reserve Bank. How can you devalue your currency by 350%? And then after that, you just keep quiet. And you think nothing else in the economy is going to change. You change one thing, there's going to be ripple effects. What are the ripple effects right now of devaluing your currency by 350%?
All right.
Have they calculated that and prepared the nation?
All right. Let me respond to something, and then I also want an answer. I earlier only asked if you can become a Reserve Bank governor, what can you do? Why America is begging Venezuela, as you are claiming? It's because they've got oil. We know that any country in the world. I read that oil deposits in Venezuela are like the biggest in the whole world, more than even US and Russia. That's why America is creating instability in Venezuela, funding their puppet opposition leader to control the other side of Venezuela. They actually wanted to take over the country, America, for the oil. We know that America funds crisis in all the countries with oil. Example, Libya in Africa. So Venezuela is one of the biggest world oil deposits. Hence the crisis there is created by US. But okay, it's another topic. Now, so when you say innovation within the fiscal policy, you are actually referring to Bitcoin, the use of Bitcoin and other digital.
Okay, it's called Petro. It's called Petro. I've displayed it there on the screen. You can go and research the Petro, how they moved away from a currency that can be attacked and moved to a cryptocurrency that is easier to use. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. So now, for you, innovation is the digital currency. I said our fiscal policy or monetary policy is crafted in response to a challenge. You don't just say Venezuela or this country, they're using Bitcoin, and then we also use Bitcoin. They are also weighing all those options. But currently, we are using two. I mean, I'm not an expert or at Reserve Bank, but what I know is that our current problems and these problems in Venezuela or other countries are different, and we don't respond the same. It won't be correct that if we don't use the digital currency, then we are not innovative. To me, that innovation will be very limited.
I'm sorry, I think I was talking to myself right there.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I was saying the problem we have in our country is the Reserve Bank. Say the Reserve Bank. And this is the theme of what I'm trying to say here. That our Reserve Bank, if they are not put into line, they are going to be the cause of problems in the President Mnangagwa's government, because they are continuing with their old ways. They do not want to move from their position where they are now to think of different ways of doing things. And I think let's conclude, because we're almost on 1 hour now. And this will be my last remarks on this issue of, because I do not understand how someone can devalue a currency by 350%, have inflation of 600%, and then just think that everything is normal and blame sanctions. There are many smart young Zimbabweans who work in the World Bank, International Finance Corporation, all these big places. People like Professor Mtuli Ngube, they know that what is happening in Zimbabwe is not normal. To have an inflation of 600%, to have a devaluation of 350%. And yet, they keep advising the president that that's normal to have an economy that is like this, instead of taking drastic intervention measures. Because here something needs to be done, something drastic needs to be done. You can't continue in this way going into an election. You are not going to do well with that election. And that is where I want to end this from my side. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
Yeah, we need to believe in our local institutions, and we need, when we believe in our local institutions, when we believe in our government, those who doesn't love Second Republic, is unfortunate. For the next 12 months, it will be a government in power. We need to respect it and support it for the next 12 months. The Reserve Bank is not sabotaging the president's government, but the Reserve Bank is part of the government. and President Mnangagwa is well aware of what is happening at the Reserve Bank, and they understand it. Otherwise, yes, what many people are to advise him. And being a president, it means he's in control of almost everything. And if it was a matter of firing, no, I think he knows how to fire. I think there are more than 5 ministers now who are now looking after cows somewhere. And when the X is not falling on the Reserve Bank governor, it means the system has detected that it's not, there's no fault there. but the attack is on the economy for regime change.
Okay, I think that's well ahead, Mr. Jonas. I want to talk to you about the economy. Most people don't understand why I talk to you about the economy. There is no one who understands the economy more than Mr. Jonas, and I can tell you this because I spend a lot of time with you. So, right, let's go to one quick thing, one quick conclusion. Right, I want to ask you about this before we go.
Yeah.
It's a ZANU-PF territory. Naizvozvo funeral yaitika iyi ndaona kuti iri kuda kupoliticizwa zvisiri zvinoenderana nezvatinofamba nazvo munomu sakansela weZANU-PF. Taurira vana vedu veZANU-PF kuti on this funeral we don't want regalia, and vana vedu veZANU-PF vatevera zvatataura. Saka patasvika pano panzvimbo tasvika pane vakapfeka regalia yeCCC. Saka we had decided kuti funeral ilidwe nechurch, but tichiti isusu kana wakapfeka uniform yako yeRoma, yeHwisiri, yePostori ndo zvaunopfeka, no political songs paarea pedu. But after that tadiscussa izvozvo taona tisiri kuwirirana. Saka inini ward chairman, the councillor of the area, ndazovataurira kuti ndini baba wemusha unoyu, musha unoyu ndoweZANU-PF. In this case handichabvumiri kuti funeral itwe musha mangu zvakangofanana nekumusha sabhuku akati musha.
Right, what do you say about that? The funeral of More Blessing Ali has been blocked.
All right.
Yeah, what do you say about
that? Although I just see someone speaking on video, I don't know whether. Okay, my personal opinion is I think we should stop politicizing funerals. The only person who would know and speak on authority what killed More Blessing Ali is the police. The police are mandated to accuse, but once a body is discovered somewhere, we have got people like Job Scala, whose political career is based on kindness of Nelson Chamisa, screaming that ZANU-PF killed her, when Job Scala is known to sleep around with the married women in Stumbisa, and no one talks about that. So I think basically we should stop politicizing everything. When CCC is beaten on political intelligence and science, they resort to crying babies, politicizing funerals, and politicizing everything. That is bad. We don't have an opposition. And I'm happy that the president is a forgiving president. If I could be a president for 1 week, I would put these diabetes, these I would lock them up.
Okay, I see. So, Mr. Jonas, this was a long discussion. We haven't had such a long discussion, and your internet is extremely good. I wonder where you are. Because
I'm in Zimbabwe, where everything is said is failing. But
okay, that's all good. I'll be there soon. Let's talk. I really want Zimbabwe to do well, and I don't have the Second Republic, but I can tell you, if I was the Reserve Bank governor, I would do a better job than the guys who are there now.
Yeah, it's your opinion. The internet is working, it's not affected by the Reserve Bank.
All right, thank you very much, sir, and we'll talk again next week.
Thank you so much.
Kuno abo pano mama wanna get it nice. I know pura meso, I know pura tebe, I know kaya marigi. Kama kweto tikom, kweto tikom usasai. Kama kwe uyo
anotara mari anogaya mari garai mamunzwa pane nyaya pano zvamunoda kunzwa zvinotaurwa pano madiko kumunzwa mugova ne.com gambakwe vanogaya mari vanotara mari vanosiya mari gambakwe vanotara feya kuti pamberi zvichafamba sei vanhu muterere zvikubatsirei mukufamba kwenyu zvikubatsirei mirai ndikudze kuti chokwadi pano chizere gambakwe vanogaya cash vanopa mafacts vanotara straight vane evidence vane confidence plus intelligence
entertainment current affairs and news gambakwe.com usasarire gambakwe anogaya mari